begins to roll, and just to recap for those who'd be joining us online, we talked this morning a little about the practicing of the presence, right? And also Tom read from a book where one aspect of spirit was talking to a woman, and she journaled it. And the reason I want to recap that, and we also talked about what it's like to be in a dark place, to be processing old fears and old energies, and not especially feeling happy, or maybe even having depression, or a phase of depression, and what to do with that when you come to a place like this where we emphasize joy. And the reason I want to bring that up, I honor, and I know of course Tom does too, as much as he jokes about it, our own processes of clearing the difference between the human and the divine, and recognizing that and clearing the human to become more divine. It's a real theme right now as we move from lower density to higher density energies. But I just also want to point out, because of that particular book called Jesus Calling, there are a number of those type of books where different aspects of spirit has talked to the individual. And what you don't know too often is that those conversations came at the very bottom of that soul's barrel, so to speak. When that soul couldn't take the darkness anymore, there have been a number of communications between soul and spirit where the soul receiving the communication, the divine came in to save them right before they were ready to either numb themselves out completely or take their own lives. I mean, serious, serious darkness. And you know, and I'm mentioning this because that darkness doesn't mean, if we go through that, we all go through periods where we're just not feeling fluffy and light, right? Those are the times where the most spiritual work is being done. The bliss times, you know, that's easy. The times we're feeling happy and joyous and inspired and in tune with life. But if we get, those are easy. We don't even have to talk about those. Just keep doing more of what you're doing. And give the credit to Spirit. Give the credit to God. That joy can only come through divine attunement. But what about the dark times? And if we have people around us going through seriously dark times, or we ourselves are, the little life raft that I'd like to throw out there is that you are on the cusp of an amazing spiritual breakthrough. Focus on that. Focus on that, the pain, the illness, the emotional or mental darkness is a clearing out, and it's a precursor to a tremendous breakthrough. I don't know how many different ways to say it, but hang in there. Or the people that you love. You know, a great, great principle of spiritual healing. I used to have a pretty good sized Reiki program here, and now we're more fitting into a program where we're using spiritual light as the energy that we're healing with. It's a higher frequency, and it's very powerful. But no matter which modality you're using, and it could be, some of you could be physical healers, remember that one of the greatest precepts of being a healer is to be able to keep the vision or the knowledge that the person that's coming to you, no matter what they're going through, on the inner level, on the spiritual level, are complete and whole and already healed and never been sick. So you might say, now those of you who are spiritual counselors or yoga teachers or whatever, you say, wow, that's a hard one. Yes, it is. Work for it. Because two things will happen when someone comes in and they are really going through some stuff. First of all, if you're able, from your higher self to their higher self, channel the energy of this illness is very temporary, it's very necessary, and it's going to lead you to a greater sense and realization of your freedom and your connection with Spirit. If you can hold that no matter what they're going through, you're building your power. Not only that, but clairvoyantly, if you were to see, you would see a tremendous light moving from your higher self to their higher self, and you are feeding their higher self, which will go down into their chakras and lift them out of what they're going through. If you, and we've talked about this before, if you sympathize with them, oh, you poor thing, geez, I really feel what you're going for. I mean, you can say, wow, I can understand that would hurt. But if you energetically go there, you're literally between your emotional center and their emotional center will be sharing with them a denser gray energy. It's not going to help them. Somebody needs to hold their divine perfection in their consciousness. And that is the number one precept for a spiritual healer, or a beloved, or a partner, or a mother, or a father, or a child, or whoever's going through. You know, if you don't hold it for someone else, at least hold it and try to hold it for yourself. If you do that, because when you're going through, you're walking through the shadow of the valley of death. And some of these trials that we're going through now do feel like a death, don't they? Know that there's a perfection there that's being uncovered through going through the shadow. So I really want to remind you of that. And we had on Friday night, we had a little gathering in our mystic voyage, and we talked about death. And it was really fun, really. Because, no, really. Because, it's not sick.
Well, sweetie,
what?
Someone yesterday came up to me and said, I just had an aha. And they said, the word funeral starts with the word fun. Okay. So.
And one of the things that we talked about, this is totally a side issue, but do have memorial services for your loved ones. Do it, because they will be brought there in spirit. That's part of our transition process, is to come to our own funeral or service. So to make sure you have it. But, Yogananda said, and I heard this 35 years ago, he said, when I don't like this world, I just close my eyes and go to another. And, for the first 30-some years, I'd think to myself, well, that's fine for you. Great. How do we do that? But, this little, as we went, just talking about it, one of the things we focused on Friday night as we talked about death is how the astral world, the heaven worlds, interpenetrate this world. It interpenetrates this world. So when our loved ones, sometimes when they pass, they feel so close to us, or maybe spirit, and one of the aspects that you feel hold most dear, that they're very close, is because they are. I mean, literally, it's a shift in vibration. When we shift from this world, the physical realm, to the spirit realm, it's only a change in vibration. We drop the overcoat. We go in our bodies of light, and we just transfer into the dimension of light. It's that simple. It's that close. And now I finally realize, if the light bulb went off just this weekend, that what he meant when he doesn't like this world when it gets too dense, because he was a master of vibration, he was able to shift out of the dense vibration and put himself into the higher regions of light, replenish a little bit, then come back into the physical. And guess what? That's this realm, what we're going through now, what we'll continue to go through for a few more weeks, actually close to the end of the year, is that to get rid of our density, which Yogananda had already gotten rid of and become master over, we're going to get rid of that density and be able to perceive that land of light more. That's why this eclipse that's happening, I believe it's a lunar eclipse on Friday, is the beginning of the portal where codes and gateways are coming in to enable us to feel that inner world, that world that's right there interpenetrating the physical. We're going to be able to perceive it more deeply. Little by little, though, baby steps, because these things would be very shocking if it happened all at once. So this is our message of hope, and that's why this weekend's a great weekend. Like I said, you can't use money as an excuse, because on Saturday night, the only exchange of energy we asked during this celebration that we're having is that you show up. Just get your bodies here, and let's just rock some community and some love. Open those portals. We'll explode them open, And let's see that when we are going through and doing our purification and attaining our mastery, as we do this, we'll do it together and shift our vibration and bring more joy into the world, shall we?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say yes.
Let's do it. Why not? The opportunity is going to be there. We'll just anchor it in.
So one of the many, I don't know, things that we're going to experience on Saturday night, it's going to be joyous outer, and it's going to be, I don't know, some deep, deep inner stuff too. But one of them is this practice that Qigong, Chinese Qigong masters do, and maybe we can do a little now because it goes along with what Trisha just said. They heal by visualizing the perfection in somebody. They have been known to reduce tumors, and they have them on a video, the tumors, and these masters are just going like this, saying how la, but they don't see the tumor. They are only acknowledging and celebrating the perfection that's underneath the darkness and the changes that this body goes through. They are tapped into that eternal light and that cosmic energy which cannot be diseased. It cannot die. It cannot be touched by anything of this world. And so they just hold that, hold that, hold that, hold that. So maybe we can do that now. Hold this conscious for yourself, of course, right? And your loved ones at home and for each other. And as we start to feel that power coming through, the perfection power, the love power, the healing power, the perfection of what is, let's hold it for our world, shall we? So the words are Haula, and it's real simple. Haula, 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 Haula.
It means all is well.
Haula,
Haula,
all well.
Haula,
Everything is so beautiful.
Haula,
So perfect.
Haula,
So divine.
Haula, Haula,
So shiny.
Haula, Haula,
So joyous.
Haula, 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 Haula.
For the whole world now.
Haula, 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 Haula.
And just, even if it's for a split second, you know, if you can hold truth in your consciousness, even for a split second without doubting it, oh my gosh, that is a huge breakthrough. So thank you for these little practices, everyone. Thank you for these little moments that we spend together. These moments that, yes, we're going to need to pretend that we're happy for a while. But that's okay too. Let's celebrate it all. And go ahead and release your hands down.
They actually have medicineless hospitals in China where these masters do this healing work. And they film something. They actually had a film that Tom and I watched where the tumor shrunk. You may have seen it. And then what they do to help the person stay healthy is then they teach them how to move energy through Qigong.
So if you and I were to create the funnest board game, you know, like Monopoly or something, but this could be around this idea that you're this mastermind, you're this like creator person, and you create a board game of all these mazes and all these problems and all these obstacles and wars and all this stuff. But the purpose of the game is that there's secret clues. That if you got the secret clues, you would realize that all this stuff that seemed like so heavy was not real at all. And these secret clues were like gingerbread crumbs. That if you got one, then the next bit of crumbs would lead you a little further along on your journey. And it was a journey in towards this cosmic romance, this epic love story, this cosmic affair that your soul has with the divine lover, with the beloved of all that is. And you just got lured with these little secret clues that came up in the midst of all this darkness in this board game, and almost like mazes, such that you couldn't even see your way out, and you were losing hope. If not, you'd lose hope. And then here comes the clue, like Trish was saying. Here comes a moment. Here comes a little reprise, a little relief from the grief, or the divine with each one of us. We can't be in despair for forever. We can't be lost for forever. We can't be held under in the darkness for forever, because the darkness has come out of the light. And that's the game we're in. It is really the game we're in. In fact, it is such a master game by Creator. And it's brilliant, because those clues and those secret ways that you can discover that everything is okay, for starters, like really okay. And then as you move on, it's like, OMG, you know, I'm happier and happier, and then I'm in ecstasy. The secret of all those games is that in the overall blueprint of the darkness, in the overall mazes, in the overall, like, wow, at first sight, at first go, you know, in our hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes, we're kind of stuck in the beginning parts of this game, in the mazes and in the suffering, and believing it's real, and it's just like overwhelming, right? But the secret is it's designed that way. It's designed that way. It's brilliant. This world and everything in it and these bodies are meant not to work perfectly. Things are meant to go south, baby, right? So that you can see if you want to get a deeper clue about what life is all about. You see how it's a setup? It's a cosmic setup. Because if everything was to go peachy keen in this realm, we've all in that mood when things are going good. You're like flying, right? It's like, great. I don't need to sit down and meditate. Why meditate? Things are going good. Don't we meditate to have things go good? No. You meditate so that you get close to the beloved, so when things don't go good and they're designed not to go good, you're not going to get panicky. You're going to be able to hold steady in the arms, in the relationship with the beloved, and not get too scared in this fleeting mortal dream of your life. So, wow, having said that then, let me share with you some more. My screen keeps going off, and Trisha hasn't told me how to set this thing, so it takes forever so I can use it when it comes on, but I got it going now.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. We just have a few details still to work out. But I want you, seriously speaking though, you know, there's nothing that happens by coincidence, one stepping foot on the spiritual path. So if something comes along and someone, my sister turned me on to this book, and then I found out that Trisha had it on her iPad all along. And it's just something that can reawaken within all of us, because you've heard interchanges like this. You've heard, some of you have even written higher self letters to yourself. We had an experience yesterday in the ending of a 300-hour yoga training where I asked everyone, I said, now everything's great, good job, celebration time. But why don't we now just see what our higher self has to say to us, because now you're going back into the real world, so to speak, and it might have some very pertinent instructions for you to integrate back into everyday life. And across the board, whether some were real firm believers in the faith that there is a higher power, or others still questioning it, across the board, we had everyone read one line from what their higher self told them. And they just wrote. They didn't think, they just wrote. And every single one was like, oh, perfect divine guidance. Perfect divine guidance. So good, bad, or ugly, friends, wherever you sit right here and now, that higher self is accessible. That divine guidance, I call it GPS, God's perfect system. You are God's perfect system, if you want to use it. I bought a Prius some years ago that was the top of the line. It had all the electronics. I still don't know how to work them. And neither do you. Know how to work this GPS of yours. But now is the time. That at any time you're stuck and things are dark and it seems like everything's conspiring against you, just access higher self. It will tell you the sweetest things. So let me read you this. I'm going to read you not all of these journal entries, but some of them. So my thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither are your ways my ways. This is, again, higher self speaking, or God, or that aspect of the divine that's closest to your heart. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways and thoughts higher than yours. Remember who I am when you spend time with me. Marvel at the wonder of being able to commune with the King of the universe anytime, any place. Never take this amazing privilege for granted. I mean, like instant access. The password is faith. Right here, right now. Instant access to the King of the universe that will speak through you, through your higher self, let's say. In a personal, one-on-one, you can talk with God. It's one of Yogananda's early books, How You Can Talk with God. Right? Though I am vastly higher and greater than you, I am training you to think my thoughts. As you spend time in my presence, my thoughts gradually form in your mind. My spirit is the director of this process. As you spend more time with me, my thoughts gradually form in your mind. These communications strengthen you and prepare you for whatever is before you on your life path. This is what I love about this thought. Take time to listen to my voice. Through your sacrifice, now you think, oh, we're going to get Christian here and the cross and all that's fine, but not. Through your sacrifice of precious time, I bless you far more than you dare to ask. It takes a little time to be alone and have a moment. Doesn't it? That's precious in God's eyes. It's precious. So precious that he says, I bless you far more than you dare to ask. Let my presence override everything you experience. Like a luminous veil of light, I hover over you and everything around you. I am training you to stay conscious of me in each situation you encounter. So this game, this board game of life, is about you will encounter stuff. No question. But the game can be so fun now on the way to your own funeral. Fun, funeral, death to the little ego. Yes, and death, or it seems to be death or transformation of you being in this physical garment, this body. That the game is to stay conscious in each situation. Okay? Let me just go to the next little reading. Stay ever close to me, this one's called. Stay ever close to me, and you will not deviate from the path I have prepared for you. This is the most efficient way to stay on track. It is also the most enjoyable way. Now here's where we can get a little trapped, okay? Sometimes men and women tend to multiply duties in their observance of religion. Multiply duties in their observance of... This practice enables them to give money, time, and work without yielding up to me what I desire the most.
Wow.
Here's what the divine desires the most. Their hearts. Rules can be observed mechanically. Once they become habitual, they can be followed with minimal effort and almost no thought. These habit-forming rules provide a false sense of security, lulling the soul into a comatose condition. All right. What I search for in my children is an awakened soul that thrills to the joy vibrations of my presence. They didn't say vibrations. I added that. What I search for, huh? We can be do-gooders. That's good, but be a do-gooder and give your heart to God. What I search for in my children is an awakened soul that thrills to the joy of my presence. I created mankind to glorify me and enjoy me forever. I provide the joy. It's a great line. I provide the joy. Your part is to glorify me by living close to me. So glorify God. Don't get hung up on that. Stay close to love. That's our part. Source's part, I provide the joy. Your part, stay close to the joy. That's not a bad deal. That's not a bad deal. That's not like hell and purgatory and all that, right? I provide the joy, and you stay close to the joy.
I think we're going to have to limit your time on the iPad, dear.
Okay. But this is really important. I am with you in all that you do.
Lunch will be
I
served
will
in 5 minutes.
with this entry. I am with you in all that you do, even in the most menial task. I am always aware of you, concerned with every detail of your life. It's like, smile, we're on Cosmic Candid Camera. Nothing escapes my notice. Not even the number of hairs on your head. I make it easy for God. He doesn't even have to worry about counting the hairs on my head. However, your awareness of my presence falters and flickers. As a result, your life experience feels fragmented. When your focus is broad enough to include me in your thoughts, you feel safe and complete. When your perception narrows so that problems or details fill your consciousness, you feel empty and incomplete. Learn to look steadily at me in all your moments and all your circumstances. Though the world is unstable and in flux, and you can experience continuity through your uninterrupted awareness of my presence, fix your gaze on what is unseen, even as the visible world parades before your eyes. Sitaram, 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 Sitaram. I constantly remember you.